Hey, this is Frugus Raid coming at you with a Raid Shadow Legends video. I'm going to talk today about my new clan boss comp that I've been running. This is a double Maneater, double Turvold comp. I want to give just a little bit of background on it before I get started. I saw based upon IMENK's video, and he also talked to me about his setup, a one key with double Maneater Turvold, and I started getting interested in looking into what I'd do if I did do an unkillable comp. I've run a 2-for-1 for a while, and it's a one key comp. So I was really interested in it only if it was a one key comp, and ideally one that would be consistently more than my 2-1 comp. So I knew I wanted to use Turvold. He's my favorite character in the game, and I was going to also use Martyr because she has a lot of boosts in terms of buffs that she gives. She gives the counterattack. She gives more buffs for Turvold, and then she has defense down, and she hits pretty hard too. So I was looking for one more to fill in. I tried a few. I tried Bad L. That got real good damage out of Turvold, but just not enough overall. I couldn't get a one key. Then I tried Septimus. That got a one key, but maybe not as consistent as I'd like because Septimus is very sketchy on the uptime of his buff extension. And then lastly, I tried Kreela. Now Kreela I got a real solid one key out of, but I still wanted more. So I started looking into what could I do with a double Turvold. Now, if you've looked at this before, the speeds aren't well published anywhere. There's not a lot of real good information that I can find, at least right now, as of December 2020, where you can emulate speeds for two Turvolds, or really two multiples of the same speed boosting. Deadwoodjedi.com is where I'd usually go. They have fantastic stuff there. But that really helps you if you kind of know the speeds you want and then you want to tweak it in the emulator. If you are going to do looking around for what speeds could be used, it's a little trickier, and especially if it's the same champion and it's a champion who has speed boosts, because as of right now they don't support that. So I ended up writing my own emulator. I may talk about that a little bit more later, but for now, I'm going to spend a few minutes and show you the team I built, show you the setup, run it in Alter Nightmare Clan Boss, and then I will show you the gear, a little more information about it, and then finally at the end of the video, maybe I'll talk just a little bit more about what I did to search for speeds using an emulator, and indulge my computer science nerdiness a little bit. But in any case, I want to set you up, so we're going to go ahead and go into the clan boss setup, and I will walk through the speeds, the characters, and everything else. All right, let's go ahead and get into this. So the setup we have is Martyr in the lead, then two Turvolds, then two Maneaters. The team speeds that I have on this is Martyr at 172, Turvold number 1 at 151, Turvold number 2 at 143, and then the Maneaters at a very typical double Maneater speed of 218 and 215. I'm going to go ahead and start this process up. The delays are pretty much aligned with the normal double Maneater setup. So the first Maneater can use his A1 anytime between now and turn 2, and then he will use it again on turn 6. The second Maneater uses his turn on, or his A3 on turn 4. The first Turvold, the fast Turvold, will go immediately with his A2. The slow Turvold will wait 4 rounds before he goes, so he will actually go at the beginning of turn 6. And then Martyr can use her A2 anytime between now and turn 3. the goal is that it lines up also with turn 6 as well. So the first thing, we'll go ahead with 2 A1s. Now we're going to try to get defense down with Martyr. Now right away, this Turvold can go ahead, so he's going to hit right away. A1 here right away. And we are now going to continue with another one, A1. Do the A2 here. We'll do the first A3 right here. Against affinity, we could do that at a different time as well. Go ahead and use Martyr's A3 so we can start the counterattacks up. Now the setup for this is pretty straightforward. As I said, once it gets going and on turn 6 it will be fully unkillable, just like any other double Maneater team setup if you're familiar with them. The beautiful thing about this is it's super consistent. It will do as well on most affinities as it will on void. Now because of Martyr and the defense down, magic affinity is the weakest affinity, and it's still going to be a 1 key, but it'll be a less of a key for sure on that one. And then, you know, it'll swing up 6 to 8 million on force affinity because of the higher uptime of Maneater's unkillable, or I should say of Martyr's defense down and weaken. Go ahead and use Juggernaut here. Make sure I keep that defense down. All right, now turn 6, we're going to go ahead and turn this loose. Martyr and Ancient Blood, and from here on in this is completely straightforward. Now the Turvolds, the most I've seen them do right now, the most they'll get is 7 buffs. So my better geared Turvold, I've seen him push it over 400,000 just by a peep on, you know, one of the 2 hits on his Juggernaut. That one's geared pretty well. He's got 6,500 attack almost, 278 crit damage. So, you know, they'll produce really solid damage. With the real low speeds in this comp, especially for the Turvolds, there's really nothing stopping you from just getting some really crazy gear on them. And, you know, honestly, when I show you the gear, you'll see that I have probably the best gear I have, and it's good, but you know, I imagine somebody who had crazy good gear could squeeze more out of this comp than I can. But again, you'll see exceptional gear here is really able to be there. I did use on both the 2 Maneaters toxic gear to get a little more damage out of them. This sets up and runs just the same on Nightmare and on Brutal. I will go ahead and put the speeds for the setup and the speeds for the team in the description. I'm going to go ahead and let this run for a couple minutes, and then I will come back right at the end when it is done, and we will look at the results, and then I will go over the gear, and we will continue from there. Okay, we're about right at the end of the run. You can see that this is going to clear 80 million. And we'll probably be done in the next turn. As soon as this wraps up, we'll go ahead and take a look. You can see you got a really good amount of damage out of Turvold 1, Turvold 2, also good damage, not quite as much. Then you're going to see, you know, nearly around 10 million out of the other three folks on the team. So again, a really solid comp, just does fantastic damage. Let me go ahead and go into the teams and their setups, and we'll just walk through what that looks like. We'll start with the slow Turvold. This is the stronger of my two Turvolds. His total stats, you can see, just under 6,500 attack. That is with Gold 4, Great Hall. You'll see that his critical rate, 80%, 278, really good. If I bounce through the stats, you're going to see I tried to focus on with this one on getting as much attack as I possibly could, while still getting over 70% crit rate and a high amount of crit damage. I have a few really good pieces in my crit damage, which boosted that up a lot. And then you see attack on the boots as well, and then attack, crit damage, and attack. His masteries, and I'm just going to show you the masteries for the first Turvold. Their masteries are exactly the same. I did go down a mitigation route. That's not really very important in this particular case, but the real key is getting down to the 2 counterattacks. You want to attack when you're 50% or less for more damage, and you want to counterattack, so you need some way of renewing the damage or the healing a little bit to get over 25%. So that's the first Turvold. The second Turvold, this one is my fast one, and I also had to get accuracy on him. So you're going to see I sacrificed quite a bit of attack, almost 1,000 attack. But his crit damage is actually better than the other ones, and he is at 243 accuracy. Again, the speeds are so low, it's really just a matter of organizing what your best 2 combinations of gear are, and really finding one of the 2 combinations, if you use my exact comp, that has the accuracy. If you look at the gear on him, I'm just going to bounce through it again. Again, some real good. I only have 2 pieces of cruel on the other one, and crit damage. On this one, I was able to do 3 pieces of cruel. I've never been able to get any good 6-star attack boots in cruel. I do have some nice 5-star ones though, which is what I'm using. And then again, attack, crit damage, and I use my best attack banner that was accuracy. So I'm going to go ahead and then continue on. I'm going to start with next Martyr. Martyr's gear, it's mostly mixed. I do have accuracy and speed, but again, I wanted really high accuracy on her. I do have 100% crit rate, 218% crit damage. The defense isn't as high as I'd like it to be, but again, in order to get the accuracy, I sacrificed maybe 300 or 400 defense that I could have otherwise gotten. As far as masteries go, I did make sure that this has sniper and master hexer, so that it is getting the best chance to land defense down and extend it, and then just the typical, I'm down in this tree otherwise. And if I go through the gear real quickly, you'll see again bolstered some high crit rate gear, which sets me up for using crit damage gloves, defense, and then we're going to have defense, crit damage, and defense. Now the last 2 champions to show you are my Maneaters. These guys are set up pretty similar. This is the fast Maneater that goes 218 speed, He does have accuracy. That's not necessary in this comp, but I use them elsewhere, so I just left it on. They are in toxic gear. I have some pretty good toxic gear, so I'm able to get 100% crit, 220 some critical damage. They have really low attack. That's a sacrifice I had to make in order to get them in toxic and get them to 100% crit rate. So it's as you can see, the damage worked out. I'm getting 10 million damage almost out of them over the course of the run. I'll quickly show you the stats on the gear. You will notice that each one of these is using a speed buff. You'll also see that they do use Lore of Steel. When you're doing tuning, sometimes that can be finicky, and so that's something just to be aware of. I was able to use it, but it's something to always keep your eyes on. And again, I'm in you see the Lore of Steel. I also am down here for 5% chance of landing toxic. Both of the Maneaters have the same Masteries. And here's my second Maneater. This guy is at 215, and you'll see again nearly 100%, not quite. Attack, crit damage, and accuracy. Now these guys run really well. This setup's just a lot of fun. I love the big damage you see out of Turvold. One of the things I said I'd talk about just a little bit at the end was the way I found this. So I'm just going to briefly touch on it here at the end of the video. Deadwoodjedi.com is usually the best place to go if you have needs to find unkillable information. They don't, however, at least as of December 2020, have a good way to calculate unkillable or calculate speed ranges in general for two of the same champions that have speed modifiers. So in order to calculate the double Turvold, I actually wrote my own clan boss emulator. Again, I used information I found at Deadwood Jedi and some of the Speed Tuning 101, Speed Tuning 201 posts that you'll find there. And that information really gave me what I needed to just write a simple emulator. And then on top of that, I wrote some programs that use the emulator and then search for patterns that are favorable. So in the case of the Turvold double Maneater, I was searching for patterns where it hit, within turn 7, every other turn had a alternating Maneater taking the last turn before the clan boss. And then I also looked for that turn, the Turvolds both were casting their A3, or it's their A2 actually, their speed boost in that turn as well. And that's what I use to mine the patterns. There's a real wide variety of different speeds that can be ascertained. I have a link to them on my Discord. If I open this up, you'll see just a whole bunch of speed ranges that can meet this criteria. I basically searched for Maneaters being 218 and 215. So if you are interested, you will be able to see this and get to it. If you have different speeds of Maneaters, you'll probably just have to reach out to me. You can contact via the Discord or leave a comment on the video, and I'll be certainly willing to get back to you, and maybe I can help you by running the emulator if you're interested. Again, that's this works really well. It works on Ultimate Nightmare, Nightmare, and Brutal with just different delays. I'm going to go ahead and leave a link to this in the video description, and hopefully it'll be a help to you if you are actually interested in running this. Hopefully this has been at least somewhat informational and entertaining. I hope you guys have an excellent day.